I mean, we took in a lot. I'm telling you, but yeah.
We are.
Tell you a big deal was down there near those Calvert
All right,
apartments.
we're
across
live.
the street.
Mhm.
That was,
Oh, yeah, did you see that? How full it was?
no, I did before.
Well, I'm talking about this last one.
I should have looked.
Oh, it's, I bet it like
Grimmett.
a couple of feet before. It was a big rain,
All right,
a lot of.
let's call the meeting to order. At 4:28, we're 2 minutes early to make up for the 2 minutes we were late at the last meeting. So, so, guess we start with this, the normal, get my agenda up here. The approval of the minutes of the January 16th, 2025 regular meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes? I don't think it makes any difference, Glenda, but I did have a question on right here at the bottom of the first page where it says board will consider options for other
To use that
project.
200,000.
Well, it goes, did not go to the Lone Valley? Did we
Well, it
not
all
take it
came-
to the Lone Valley?
But it all is still under the PV cloud.
Okay.
Yeah. You
Okay,
still consider it all the PV cloud grant.
okay, all right, okay, that explains it.
I move we accept the minutes. Previous minutes.
Okay, Bill. Bill makes a motion to accept the minutes.
Approve the minutes.
Steve Freeman seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. The water budget tracking continues to look good. We are running a little bit short in the actual operating revenue for the water, but I think that will make up some because the additional increase went into effect on the 1st of January. And but the other fees are holding good as well. And we had the grant revenue at 56. So we're at 1,169,000 against the budgeted 1,057,000. Expenses, repairs to the system have been a little higher than we anticipated when we budgeted, but that's not unusual because you never know when it's going to have a breakdown. But overall, our total expenses are at 915,000 against the 1,031,000 budgeted. So we're doing well with in the water area. On
So
this-
one question, hourly employees, current year to date, under expenses there, about the third line down, 135,000, budgeted 206,000. Are you fully staffed now?
Yes.
But you haven't been. We
No, we
been
haven't been. no.
back to
Right.
July,
Exactly.
start of the fiscal year. Just wanted to know why that was such a disparity.
Yeah, that's
But you are now. We're good. Is
Yes.
that going well?
Yes. Sure is.
Thanks.
all right. On sewer budget, it's tracking just about like the water budget. We're running slightly ahead on operating revenue and over budget and the other items. So we've had 536,000 in total revenue against 475,000 budgeted. So that's doing well. As far as expenses, it's very similar to the water in that most everything is within budget except for the repairs, professional and technical services, where we've had some issues there, needed to use some outside help to make things happen, not in the repairs necessarily, but in other operating areas that we've had to have some support there from engineers and so forth. The interest expense, are we up to date there, Glenda?
Budget?
Yeah, well, based on what you're showing here, is it those that good numbers?
On all the loans?
Yes, yeah,
Well, well, they only pay every 6 months.
okay.
So,
So you were crew, so to
And-
speak, yeah.
and they just did in December, so it's not gonna work right for a little bit.
So we had budgeted a loss for the current year to date of 172,000, and we're right at a break even. So we're doing well there. Cash flow wise, we have 1,298,000 currently in the bank. We are getting tied on the influent lift station work over there, and may have to make a draw against the loan to meet the closing payments as we come down to, hopefully by the end of March, having that pretty much wrapped up. So
We're getting ready to make a $467,000 payment to Travis, so I told Chad we're gonna have to pull from the loan. We cannot pull our cash down anymore.
400, what is it, 400 what?
467,000. And then we had a lane invoice that came in also, but it will be reimbursed from the grant with the VFDs and controls. But it was it the high service pumps?
Yes.
Okay, and it was like 100 and I can't remember exactly, like 120 something maybe, or 100 whatever. So we have a whole lot going out this week, but it's
We have resources.
whew, so our cash is gonna really it's gonna tank,
Take
but
a
it'll
hit.
be okay. It'll come back.
So is that above what our bond is covering? Is that above what the bond
well,
issue covered in?
we'll be talking about that here in a little bit. Okay.
And that $120, was that $120, $120,000?
Yeah.
$120,000.
Okay. Bobby, updates from you. I listed some items that you could might talk about for us. The lift station, how we're coming on that with the rebuild. Some main, you had several main breaks, I think, and going on there. How the new people are doing, and anything new on the lead pipe issues or anything there?
Well, the lift station, I mean, you're talking about it.
Right.
Yeah, there's really been no change on it because ain't nobody out there doing anything because it's been bad weather, sloppy and cold, snow. So there's really no change on it. And we had two main breaks right back to back. They had one day. And we got them repaired. And then you mentioned, what was that other thing you mentioned? Lead copper.
The lead pipe thing.
Yeah, lead and copper.
What's
thing. Yeah,
going on with
inventory.
that?
Yeah, we're gaining ground on that. We still like quite a bit, so we're still waiting to hear from a lot of people. And then we're also doing investigating to get them, but we'll hopefully have that closed out by October, I hope.
Okay.
Because if not, November is when we have to resubmit letters and stuff like that. But I'm hoping we get it done.
For them, yeah. And then your new people.
Yeah, the new people are coming along really well. They're starting to, I mean, they're learning quick and they're catching on, especially with these
Getting
two.
experience, right?
Yeah, them two back-to-back breaks, they got some knowledge and stuff on that one.
Yeah.
Got their hands dirty and wet on that one, but yeah, I'm very pleased with them right now.
Yeah, one of them I know was down in the woods in the ditch behind the,
Oh, yeah, that was that, yeah, by the Riley station.
yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other one was by 5 Star. If y'all notice that big old mess by 5 Star, we can't clean that up until it starts drying up. But that's where the other one was. Anyway,
and that's and I think you and I talked, that's in that line that
yes,
we're gonna,
the one
potentially-
behind Riley Station is supposed to be in the new phase for the line going up Oak Park. And that one should be got rid of.
get that out of there. And that line's probably been in it. Well,
Hmm.
Gene remembered it being part of where they relocated the road or whatever, so.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's been in there.
yeah, it needs.
Where the putt course was, and all that. Golf.
Yeah, that was the old corridor.
There was there's a street there. I remember it vaguely. Remember the road. Is it
Okay.
before the Parkway or something?
Yeah, the road went kind of behind Mega Mills and attached that way, left that weird triangle there.
Yeah.
And the utility, well, you can go see it because of the power line still running down the old road. And city water line still runs down the old road.
And underneath the parking, the
Mhm.
drive-through of the liquor store. It's there.
Yes, yeah, right to the edge of it. Yeah.
Yeah, right to the edge of it. So,
And, I will attest, I don't think the state does that kind of stuff anymore when they relocate roads. We can give an update on the meeting we had here last week.
Okay.
We had a meeting in this room. We had representative of Churchill's engineering force, District 1 engineers here for some modifications they're gonna do out there. And we had Chad is one who coordinated the whole thing, did a great job for us, I thought. And so everybody's got a copy of everybody's email address, I believe, and had good dialogue about who's gonna do what. And
On which
identifying
project here? What are we saying?
Churchill,
Marshall Yard.
Churchill,
Marshall.
it's actually that picture over on the wall.
Marshall Yards,
So, yeah, okay.
Marshall Yard.
location, I'm sorry, I'm going way too fast.
Well, I didn't know what the context was. No.
Well, I'm bad about that. It's been one of those days for me.
I
too.
understand.
So Churchill Downs, Marshall Yards, there's a lot
Okay.
of stakeholders and a lot of activity going on out there. And, we talked some last week or last month
Mhm.
about what the development out there might ought to look like. Well, these are actual plans, things going on. So had the general contractor for Marshall Yards here, had their design team here. And District 1 is looking at redoing some intersections out there. The city is interested in how much of Campbell Lane we may or may not be involved with taking right of way on Campbell Lane, which is that private road that goes between the two hotels up to Tag. That's not a city street.
Oh.
So all these things going on. We've got a water supply line that's going under Marshall Yards, which will end up something like we just said, like the water line underneath the liquor store drive-through window. It'll be like that if something doesn't happen to it. And then the work that Bobby's done a lot of work with them. They've been great talking about sewer lift station modification. So all those, we had a whole room full down here where we had about 20 people sitting there.
People.
And talking about timelines and timeframes and who to contact who. So our selfish portion for the utilities board is the relocation of the 6-inch water line, which is the interconnectivity line to North Marshall Water.
Mm.
Okay, so that line from Marshall Yards proceeds along the 62 corridor. It makes a tie-in point in front of Speedway. That's the interconnectivity line with us and North Marshall. It's a very important line. Doesn't service any customers for the virus, but it's an important line for the future. And so we need to make sure that it's routed, that it isn't going to disrupt. And I don't know the age of that line. And we certainly don't want all the new development taking place is right on top of it without giving it careful consideration. I don't know ultimately, ultimately where we're going to wind up with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're talking about that. Now, there's a chance that we could get out in the state right away, go that way. It looks like a field. If you look at it underground, it is not a vacant field. There's a lot of stuff goes through there. There's fiber. there's gonna power wiring to the US highways lot systems and different things. And so we know who we gotta talk to about this and work our way through that. District one actually had a bunch here and they identified themselves as a utility. Utility crew,
Yeah,
utility
something like that.
planning
Yeah.
part. So they don't just move roads like they did at the end of Oak Park Boulevard anymore. They relocate utilities and do all of it now. They have several reps here. So District one showed up. They had
District one, what?
Kentucky
Transportation.
Oh.
Transportation Cabinet.
Got it.
District one, lead engineer was here and he brought several of his people and some of his contractors, the engineering contractors. So he had a good showing. I really appreciate him showing up here.
He seemed to be very interested in making sure that everything went
absolutely.
well. He wasn't just bullying his way through.
No, they've got to make some announcements of what they want to do out there as far as that intersection goes and different things. And that involves the city on those three layers I talked to: the relocation of a 6-inch water line, the completion of the lift station for septic. Okay, and then not this committee, but the city is what ultimately should happen as far as the roadway becoming city roadway, the road that's currently called Campbell Lane.
Any of them offered to buy the KFC property?
If I had $1 for every time somebody's mentioned that to me, I could probably have bought it myself. We've been very respectful to the landowner on that and try to maintain good relations
Good.
with them. Don't want to go into too many details, but we're probably on the transportation cabinet's timeline right now. So I think everybody knows that we're in a big hurry for it to improve.
Well, you've got, obviously gonna have some traffic increase there. I mean, you have a sense of, in that space, but we've got a good infrastructure in terms of lights right there. And, but that entranceway in off 62.
So once the transportation cabinet finalizes some of those decisions, it will impact the value of that land.
Yeah.
And even there is a chance that they're going to acquire that tract.
Sure.
As part of their future plans too. So that's kind of out of our hands, and we would all love to see the Kentucky Fried Chicken disappear sooner rather than later, wouldn't we? I think I call it the billboard to Loserville.
Yeah.
I don't like it too much.
No.
So we're working on that. We've had a lot of dialogue with the various stakeholders on that. So we'll try to initiate it going faster rather than slower and see where we can end up with.
Yeah, they seem to wanting to make that be attractive.
Yeah, yeah.
People coming off the interstate into that area and all, they wanted it to blend in with the boulevard we got going all the way to State Park.
Good.
And make it all.
I kind of wonder about the parking out there. Take up a lot of square footage on parking.
You can go and you can find online various renditions of the layout of Marshall Yard. I think it's maybe at the Churchill site in different places, and there is a lot of parking that they've got planned for peak. A lot of parking lot. What is now a green field is going to be parking. And then how that intersection looks overall. Transportation cabinet's got some interesting plans and ideas there. And so this is, and I say this with a smile, this is the first intersection as you enter the Jackson Purchase. You got two major interstates coming through. What does this look like? And that's important to me.
That's definitely going to affect the traffic coming off of the 69 on both ways as far as getting back on or routing up through here. Either way, it's going to really affect your traffic flow.
And they're looking at actually coming all the way from 95 state. Did he mention coming?
Yeah, and I didn't understand. It's not really our place at business meeting to talk about too much, but we can't say that they're talking long-term planning. They're looking at from exit 27 all the way through to 95. That's no secret. They've been looking at that for some time. And you can, as you drive through there, you see how wide that right of way is. And some of the what has been allowed in that corridor from the adjacent landowners, the transportation cabinets made it pretty clear to need to stand back, and they've got plans to do stuff all the way up to the top of the hill.
Nice.
So I don't know what the time frame is. I don't know if it's a 20-year plan or
Right.
a 5-minute plan. Obviously, longer than 5 minutes. But we'll see.
But you have a sense, and Bobby, you're getting a sense of the water needs and
Mhm.
all of that's in there, you said, right?
Yeah.
You know, in terms of what we're
And
doing.
to expand the conversation further, our last meeting, we talked about water supply to Ford Crossing.
Ford Square.
Ford Square, sorry, Ford Square.
Yeah.
And we'll just continue to look at that and water supply and what potential development could do to wastewater.
Yeah,
So that's more of this. This is.
I mean, you're getting close to your aquifer, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Where's our aquifer that we're using in relation to all this?
We have a depiction of the protection zone, wellhead
Okay.
protection right there. And that intersection is in it.
Okay,
And it's part of every design decision. The fact that it's in
good.
in that.
And they both, state knows that too. Yep.
Thank you. The update.
All right.
Did you have to issue any boil water?
Oh, wait, on the main break?
On the
Yeah,
main
the one,
breaks?
I did, the
did?
second.
So we use Code Red to do that. Okay, I'd seen some stuff on social media that said that we didn't receive notification.
Well, the other one we didn't have to, and a lot of those were the people that were concerned about that other.
And again, I just want to get this in as anybody's watching again, urge everyone to make sure that City Hall has a phone number associated with your utility account. And that's the way we make those kinds of contacts. It's a group message, and they look at the database and the geographic location, and it's imperative we have an up-to-date phone number.
If you dropped your landline, that's what you had years ago, and now you got a cell phone and you hadn't told the city, you
Yeah.
won't get a phone call.
Well, landline, whatever, they need to have something on their database
Right.
entry is what their contact number is. And I don't know what percent of them that we don't have a valid number, because you don't know you don't have a valid number until you try to dial that old 395 copper phone line that Dan was just talking about, and you don't get any. So need to make sure those are all up to date.
What phone number will they see on their cell phone? Is it a 395 number? Is it?
No, it'll show Code Red. It'll say
It's a
emergency
Code Red.
call, typically on the Code
Good.
Red.
Good, so get them.
Yeah, I got some
People
code,
won't
I got
see
some
it as
Code Red notifications on Saturday, and it was showing emergency notification.
Okay.
And they were repeating weather statements there. I don't know what, when we do a Code Red, I don't know what it shows up. Probably shows up Code Red, probably doesn't show up.
I think it shows up Code Red too, I think.
I've never received a boil water notice. I know some customers have received boil water from Code Red. Some folks wondered where ours was, and it's just, you don't have a valid phone number in the database, it's hard to get. So
Okay.
that's my public service announcement.
Got
Does
it.
the Code Red provide a office number within the message?
I'm not sure what the message is.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm kind of like Gene. I've got Code Red, but I think it's all been emergency tornado warnings and
Mhm.
Yeah, I haven't. had
I get
one
that kind
those.
of thing. So, well,
Where I live.
But my data file here for the water utility is still my 395 number. It would ring at the house and an answer machine picks up. That's even shocking. So I had to go through all the mayoral calls to get to the recording. No.
all right, Bobby, you got any other issues or anything you need to?
How's this cold freezing stuff of that nature, anything there that you're
I
concerned about?
mean, well, I mean, it's actually, right now, everything's been looking good. I mean, all the things that we need to heat are heating, and
Good.
everything's staying thawed out. We have a couple of calls from individuals who, but it's on, like, their pipes are froze.
Yeah,
And we're thinking that something's wrong on our side. and we've
Right.
got to check a couple of things like that out. But
right. But it's usually their side.
yes.
Right.
But I mean, other than that,
My water's dripping as we speak.
yeah, I know
Mhm.
mine's gonna be.
Was it last year that we had something freeze down by the tower? Is that last year?
What happened last year? Something happened. I wasn't around. I wasn't with Tim they were doing that one.
I think we had a
Something
level. I
happened.
think we had a level transmitter.
Something.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
the
that's
other
what it
one
was,
went out
yeah.
and it
The old
overflowed.
transmitter's got an electric tracing on it.
Yeah.
And I think something that did.
Yeah.
So they were running blind for a little bit, so they got that thought back out. Is that what you?
Yeah, that was it.
Okay, anybody on the board got any other questions or anything you want to talk about a little bit before we get into the executive session and cover some critical needs right now or whatever? Not necessarily critical, but things that we need to talk about.
Yeah.
Everybody good right now? All right, Bill, or somebody make a motion that we go into executive session, or what do we need to do? We need to read first,
Well,
don't we?
one more, we gotta read that first, but one more thing. On a board member, I've got, folks I need to call, and I haven't been able to call the individual. If y'all got an idea, somebody you might want to suggest to me, good phone, give me a call. And, we had a, workshop with city council the other night downstairs, and I think that, the council understands clearly the need for a great utility system. Okay, and that's good news for us, of course. And we talked about a lot of wide-ranging topics. One of them was, and all the council understands, especially with some recent news in our local area, what do you have when you don't have a good utility system? You got a bad reputation. It's hard to grow on that. So I think that we've got firm commitment from city council to help facilitate whatever we need to do. So.
Well, it's good to see some of your new council members come to our meetings, and I assume they've been making some other committee meetings.
Oh, yeah.
That's
They're,
awesome.
they're studying hard.
Well, that's the key, is just getting a sense of what else going on.
You want to talk some about well field improvements? I missed that, or?
Oh, the well field?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did go through a few things at the well field. We had some generator problems where we for some reason the voltage regulator on one of them was only allowing us to like an emergency only run one well. So we ended up finding out the issue on that and got that resolved. So now we've got a new regulator. We can run 2 wells as we need to and furnish the city in an emergency, like when power's out and stuff. And we had one of the wells leaking on the discharge end, and we had to seal down the well field for a little while to be able to repair that line, and we did that successfully. So all that went well. So we had a few issues at the well field there for a couple of days, but we made it through.
Like I say, reactive right now.
Yeah, and
I understand.
Get the
It's
tower
on
put up.
tower, oh, the
One that
communication, yeah, communication tower's up. I thought we already knew that.
Okay.
It's running. And we're
Those,
totally-
2 new, pumps we put in. I
Those
think
high service
they're in.
pumps.
They're in.
They're in, and if I need to use them, I can, but we're still, we gotta install a flow meter, and we have to repair a valve to be able to get that online actually to control it on the computer and stuff, but we can run them.
So we got both
Yeah,
systems.
about that
systems.
Yeah, we just need to do those 2 things, and
Cut off.
hopefully we can get that
Mhm.
when the weather
Yeah,
kind of breaks.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
And you can use it.
Other than that,
We can talk about that.
It's good redundant system.
yeah,
So he's gonna get his project complete, and he'll do the startup and do the control system for it's actually the way it's designed originally.
right. Mhm.
And then you're going on vacation.
Yeah. On vacation. Be done. Until we got mess with the lagoons and stuff. All that. fun thing.
That's right. Never.
Yeah. I know.
This is the result of the testing of the pipe over on the LWD cutoff road. And, it didn't come back really good from a standpoint that it was getting some, they, right in a particular section, I should have read this before I left to come home. I mean, I read it before and I hadn't reread it, but it tested high. In well, what is it? Based on they took 8 samples, collected, and analyzed it, And laboratory test data is found in Appendix C. So of course, I'm not a chemist and I don't know all this kind of stuff, but it it had the soil was heavily contaminated. Let me see if I can. The positive was one of them was chlorides were up, resistivity was up, and so they gave us a recommendation basically that if we were going to replace the piping in that particular area and use it long term, that we needed to wrap it in some particular material to keep it from corroding and being corrosive in that area. It wasn't actually in the water itself. The water itself was clean, but it's
That's at the 6-inch line that was going to an 8-inch up there.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's pretty quick on our calendar anyway.
They came back with a recommendation for ductile iron pipe and a certain kind of wrapping to
Yeah.
help us with the corrosion.
Yeah,
The current line is PVC.
Yeah.
So there were some questions on that, and Chad was gonna get back to them. and
Right.
see.
so the line they put up by church there, North Marshall did, is actually the pipe is in the pipe.
Mhm.
And I'm assuming that's something that they're doing now. Does that make sense to you? They got a pipe.
Mhm.
And they install the pipe even when they don't have water line. But if we do a water line, you put it in the pipe.
Like a case.
Yeah, it's a casing.
Casey.
Yeah.
This was a recommendation for a particular kind of wrap on ductile iron pipe to go through that section.
Right. Yeah.
So they did some stuff about galvanic corrosion and other corrosion, and that was a recommendation that they made. Which, that's good to know, and we've also got some other questions, so we may do some more sampling out there.
So, but we've been waiting for it and talked about it before. And so we finally did get some information
Yep.
back on. So,
That'll impact that replacement project.
yep. All right.
Oh. I don't think there's any other update. Crossed my mind, you didn't buy any vehicles. Vehicles back in service,
Even the one that got destroyed.
and you used our pressure truck.
Yeah.
This weekend, it worked fine,
Yeah.
operational.
I mean, granted.
There is a big item that we need to talk about. Water plant. And the water plant study. Our current water plant and what we have. And what we don't have and how people think about installations. I wasn't mayor at the time when we went down the path of estimating a new water plant, and it was Mayor Jones's dream, desire that we would soften the water for sale. And the major component of that water plant design was looking at different methods of taking hardness out of the water. And when you look at that and the cost per thousand that you produce and passing that on, the removal of the hardness, there's some competing technologies there. One of them, which is the less expensive, generates a lot of material that has to go somewhere.
Mhm.
So if you had an outlet for that, or you had a gypsum board manufacturer say that was willing to take it, we didn't have that. So that's where that stands. Okay. And we really, I don't know what the age on that report is. Dan, do you know right off? Or you got it with you? The Strand report?
Mhm.
The softening
20,
process
I think.
alternatives. And it's 2020,
I think it's in 20. Yeah.
so it's 5 years on that study now.
Mhm.
So the plant that we operate is under constant maintenance, constant upgrade. It's, you know, it's not like a Gillette razor. We know that. You use it until it's disposed of. It's not. So we made upgrades, you know, we changed the way we do fluorination, you know, and all kinds of changes all the time. And one of our most major changes is HMI upgrade and upgrade, you know, redoing the high service pumps and redoing some of the other things. Probably the last piece that we're looking at is actually the filter building. Okay. So when that was originally designed, I should do the homework and I haven't, to go back and find out how old the current filter install was. We were pulling water out of what I call a shallow aquifer. And I can remember running around as a youth and we had a lot of iron staining in that particular aquifer. We got a lot better water source now.
Mm.
And for all intents and purposes, our water comes out of the ground ready to use, and we can put it right in. We route it to our plant, mainly sedimentation reasons, and I don't know what all. Bobby could teach a class to me on that. But we're still using the same design of the filtration that we had before. And we are recently approved. What was the cost of changing our filter media out?
Total was 75,000,
So we're doing that job. We're changing the filter media out on the.
and that's a cleaning and stuff too. I mean, that's
So we're bringing the maintenance on that building as far as we
75,000.
can bring it.
75,000.
How
That's for
often,
4 filters, all media, clean,
I don't know what the last time it was.
disinfected.
you know, and when you do that again, every year, every 4 years, every 10 years?
I mean, it just depends on your media.
Typically,
start losing
you
it
would
or-
back flush it.
When it was in the originally designed for purpose, taking large amounts of iron out.
Yeah.
It was a much more imperative that you keep your filter media turned over and stuff. And since we have such a low demand on it now, since we have so much better water source, we
Understood.
don't have that concern. So then we have a well field that has a certain amount of withdrawal capability. And we've got a filtration building that is rated at a certain flow through, okay? And that meets our requirements. And they can be re-rated. We can get a withdrawal permit to pull out more water, but they don't give that until you've got the customer base to do it. So when we look through the capacity of our system overall and where we are on that filter base, so it's a thing that can be changed. Chad has talked to us about that before, and so it's rated in so many is it gallons, I guess, or cubic feet per filter media, and how much you can flow through the plant. You can get it re-rated on different things, and eventually, you know, if we were to really expand and substantially increase the capacity of the utility system, we'd have to keep track of all those items. Well field, your capability to get from the well field to your plant, how much your plant can put through and come out. So, you know, I've been, obviously, we want to maintain a good utility system. And we need to do a look through and rebalance all that stuff. Remember, we had an opportunity to supply a major industry, which is kind of slacked off now. We looked at all that before, and in the very recent past, I mean, 18 months ago, we were looking through there. And that particular increase in volume, probably we'd be pegged at 100% of what the system can do. And I just want to, you know, talk about that just briefly with you guys, because that's where we really need to look forward and see where we move forward. You know, what's a recommendation for the new water plant or not. We've got a project that we're trying to get funded with grants to put a berm around the existing plant. The existing plant this weekend reminded us that we are in a low spot over there. We didn't have any water impact at all, but we're seeing water where we're not used to seeing it. And we will be influenced by high flows on the Tennessee River and backwater. And we've built major berms around that unit in the past. And it's quite the undertaking. And we want to have one there permanently so we don't have to go do that. No matter what we did with a water plant, we still have to protect that area down there. And the reason we do, that's where our wet well is, that's where our controls are, that's where our 1 million gallon water tank is, that's where the lines come in and tie in, that's the intersection. So, you know, even if we choose a location for an upgrade of the water plant, and it's not down there in that corner, and we establish a new operation center and all that, that infrastructure down there has got a life that's many, many years on it. And so we have to look at a berm. So we are, Mr. Ward has got some estimates on that berm, and we're constantly, and we've applied actively for some grants, and we will continue to do that. Just want to give you guys all an upgrade or an update on that, because, one of the things that's come out since our city council meeting kind of workshop is what are the things that are important to the city. Utility system is high on that list. And then you say, well, is the plant too old to function? Is it whatever? I mean, it's an older install, but it's not been a static investment that we haven't been, continually improving and putting money into as we go. And that's not going to change anytime soon, but there'll come a point when we need to say, okay, if we built a new water plant and we say the cost per thousand, which we have from the 2020 study, was the cost per 1,000 gallons of taking that hardness out was something that was pretty high. And if people want soft water, they're well advised to put in a softener system. I've had people who don't care for softener systems. I've had someone say I made a mistake by not putting one in. And so it's just a kind of a personal preference. If we made the decision as a city to go forth with that plan as designed, we would raise the cost per 1,000 gallons of water for everyone. Just the cost of production would go up, and we'd have to cover those costs somewhere. And that was one when we looked at that. And the reason I'm feeling a little guilty about that is because this thing came on board about the time that I got on board. And right, we've had changeovers with leadership and different things. And I don't know for sure that we totally got that message out, whether we grappled with that, and we're not ready to tonight, but maybe we need to uncork this 2020 proposal again and reevaluate it and make sure that we properly process it. I think we had a lot of seams happening between the mayor and I, between superintendents, between managers, that maybe we kind of lost this message. We need to revisit it, because I don't think that the understanding of that's completely out there. And I just wanted to throw that out.
The budget number in a city budget that we had for that was about $20 million.
And then and I will tell you from experience, in chemical plant world, it's just killing me on capital expansion. The inflation through the COVID period, and it just went crazy. The CPI plant index, and I don't know where that number would be.
Yeah.
Normally 5 years is getting some age on it, but in this 5 years, it's probably
got a lot more.
It's got a lot more, and it's got a design basis in there and stuff. We might be able to revisit that with Strand, but I think it did demonstrate that we probably the price of hardness removal was something that this utility system probably would not go for.
That's right.
And I think we evaluated that in here.
It was about a 600,000 or 700,000 a year increase that we would have just in operations, not considering some of the other stuff. To me, it's just a no-brainer. You cannot spend another $600,000 to $700,000 a year just to soften water.
But I think in 2025, we probably need to pull that back out and get more in depth with it and make sure that all checks out and make sure we've got a complete, this is our evaluation. Everybody understands. We've got Bobby on board right now for a long time.
I'll probably be here forever.
Okay, all right. So and bring us up and get that all taken care of, make sure we all understand it. And with a new board member too, go back through that report.
We spent about $100,000 on that, right?
There was quite a bit of money spent on that report, and I don't know what the price tag was. I didn't.
It was 100,000, was what the city paid to us.
Okay.
For $100,000 roughly for Strand to do that. And they could probably look at that report and give us a
They can.
ballpark.
They can.
And if I remember, Dan, I think you had some real good observations on that. They may have overbuilt that plant from what's really realistically needed as far as what we can see for. Now, of course, if you get the 969 business development, that might change that amount. But it was,
And I think we found out too that some of the plants, like your plant,
The softening we
The
talked about
softening.
for the industrial user was, the plan did not include taking the levels of calcium hardness down to a low enough level that the industrial user could take advantage of it. It wasn't going to be appealing from an industrial user, at least not in the facilities I've worked in, they're looking for much, much lower hardness for boiler feed water than a typical, municipality is gonna look for. So it's not really gonna, I don't think, at the time when we looked at it, we did not think that those levels would be something that the industrial customer base would need.
Well, one of the issues then is technology is the process of softening it any more efficient than it was 5 years ago? Is there any developments in the field that could bring down the 700,000 a year?
But,
Is a question I have.
Yeah.
Could we bring it down to a level? Could we do something that would get at least part of it to usable for chemical plants or all of it? Those are issues.
It's possible, but the methods that the companies that I'm familiar with have
Yeah.
been using are the same methods that have been used for decades.
Okay, so no big breakthroughs that we know. of.
Yeah,
Okay,
they were pretty resistant to release control of that, and I can understand that. The plants.
Well,
They're softening their water, they were resistant.
yeah. I mean,
to
that's
not
part of their
having
fee.
that control
Yeah.
over something.
Yeah,
that was
one of
that
their
important
inputs.
to the
They input their
process.
I can
product.
see that.
And I understand that.
Well, you can corrode a boiler tube up pretty quickly, and if it becomes to a point to where if something happens and the provider's not able to get that water softness down to the level it needs to be, and then if the industrial customers had gotten to the point to where now they're depending on that water as their sole source, yeah, then you can completely destroy some
That's right.
very expensive equipment.
And I think we were looking at maybe trying to increase purchase and maybe save the plant some money, and we probably
Yeah.
gonna do need it.
Right, I
Oh,
think
yeah,
that was
right.
part of it too, yeah, after we got as many of the plants together as we could, and it just didn't work. I mean, the softener that I put in my house when I built here in Calvert was knowing that there was some hardness in the water and everything from other people that lived here. Didn't cost very much at all, and I use a bag of salt.
Yeah.
I don't, how many times I change it out, it's not very much of that, keep 3 or 4 bags in the garage. Fairly inexpensive, $6 a bag right now for salt, so.
Mhm.
We use a few more bags a day than you do. Yeah, that's right.
Sure you do, yeah.
But we do a kind of a higher end residential style, because we've got really small potatoes board, and we clean up city water is what we feed our board feed water. So pretty substantial cost there. But anyway, I wanted to revisit that because as we've been visioning and saying, okay, what's important? 5-year, 10-year plan, comprehensive plan, utilities is certainly one of the major expenses that we have to make sure we do.
I probably have this plan in my sets of notes. Is it available online?
Yeah, well, you should have it in some email.
Okay. Strand.
2020.
I see it.
Study.
Okay, steady. All right.
I think you should have it.
I'm pretty sure I can find it. If
My
I
copy's
can, I'll let
email.
you know.
Okay.
I'm trying to go paperless on city stuff.
Yeah.
I grabbed this out of a drawer I had at home. Just-
Yeah, I'm sure when they made the presentation.
Yep.
And, all right, so there's a few items that we could talk about in the executive session. And
One quick question, Bobby, did you review that chapter 50 that we were trying to review on some of our old
You talking about
regs and stuff? Yeah,
what part of it?
I don't know, I just had it here.
That was
Bobby,
probably having to do with the.
sure we have legal standing to approach homeowners for
That was with-
violation?
Yeah, that was with the shut off of the sewer line. Yeah, we kind of looked at
Greg told me
Okay.
that in chapter 50 that stormwater is prohibited. But the only thing, I just made some quick notes that there have to be dangerous substances before you can have fines.
No.
That's all I wrote
Okay.
down, so I
Well,
don't know what else he.
I've got some highlighted portions in front of me. So an administrative order can be made. That's one thing. So that we could do in order to do some stuff. General manager, superintendent, or other duly authorized employees can go on private property to inspect, observe, measure, etc. The owner of all houses and or buildings designed or intended for use, regular getting into occupancy. This is 50.17 paragraph B. By way of example, but not limitation, habitation, employment, or recreation are hereby required at his, her, its expense to install suitable toilet facilities therein. So you've got to be connected. The owner shall operate and maintain the private sewage disposal facilities in a sanitary manner at all times, no expense to the city. These are just highlighted stuff that was put out there. All costs and expenses incident to the install and connection of the building sewers shall be borne by the owner. Where's the one in it so much? Here's one specifically, water and sewers. No person shall make connection of roof downspouts, exterior foundation drains, areaway drains, or other sources of runoff or groundwater to the building sewer or building drain, which in turn is connected directly or indirectly to public sanitary sewer. The connection of the building sewer into the public sewer shall conform to the requirements of the building and plumbing code or other applicable rules or regulations of the city, or the procedure set forth as appropriate specification, ASTM, WPCF, citation manual practice number 9. I'm not a master plumber. It doesn't mean anything to me. All such connections shall be made gas tight and watertight. Any deviation from the prescribed procedures and materials must be approved by the superintendent before installation. So those two paragraphs, H and I read the two, is you can't connect the downspouts, et cetera, and you have to maintain them watertight. That gets, I think, probably all of them. So Bobby's dug up just under 40 of those, and we're going to send letters to the 40 and have them call City Hall and make an appointment with Bobby to go over what they had, and then we're going to go through and track them. Who got letters, how did they respond, how they made the appointment, go back, how they been corrected, and I'm going to tell you that probably the majority of those are going to go away easily. And then you get into the other point of, for folks who want to take your letter and throw it in the trash and not respond to it because it doesn't matter to them, they'll get a second letter if they don't respond. So it's going to be a process. And the good news, there's not many of them, and I don't think they're really costly.
There's a couple of heavy ones that probably need to be addressed.
So prohibited discharges, 50.21 paragraph A, no person shall discharge or cause to be discharged any stormwater, surface water, groundwater, roof runoff, subsurface drainage, or any. So we've got it covered under chapter 50. What's not clear to me at this time is what we do. I mean, they obviously have to comply, that this causes them to comply, and then and we're going to assume everybody will. There's another paper that I'll tell you, Bruce put this together for me. Somebody said in this paper that the length of the private sections of drain is about equal to the length of the public sector. This is just kind of a white paper on this particular issue from the EPA. It says it's about 50-50. About 50 of the possible length that we cover is privately held, and the other 50% is ours. And you think about that, the opportunity to get groundwater, stormwater, or whatever in there is probably as much due to the length of the line as anything else. And so it's an issue. And then you get into some stuff that prohibition of us fixing it for them, and we ran into somebody had a big issue. How could we help somebody who might need to be helped to fix the drain, et cetera. And certainly over this weekend, when we have rain events like this weekend, it taxes our ability to process all that water. So
this, that smoke test is, Dan pointed out, is part of that agreed order, so.
yes,
We've got to maybe really dot our
We-
i's and cross our t's on
and that's gonna be part of the letter too. That we've been tagged, and then our system has had some problems, and we're under examination to do something about it, hence the letter, hence the smoke testing. You've been identified, you gotta help, you gotta do
That's
your
right.
part.
It's not like we're looking for something to ding people.
So the first letter will be 100% positive, and I think it'll be all we'll need. And then if there is, it has to be a second letter. It'll be a little more to the point. And you can start. I mean, we've got the chapter 50 regs here to do that. So we got it all written in there. I don't think it's clear what we haven't outlined what any teeth and failure to do so means. I think you have to be really careful on what you are able to do.
Yeah.
Right, so we've got to get the T's crossed and the I's dotted along that line.
Yeah.
But we're gonna work with people.
Yeah.
There's some things about civil fines, penalty for violations, person violating the subject of this chapter will be subject to civil penalties. In addition to any and all criminal penalties otherwise set forth this chapter, a violation shall be punishable by civil fine of not more than $250 per offense for an individual and $5,000 for all other entities. So if it's a company or whatever, not doing, you can go 5,000 each day, $250 a day. So, you know, we don't want to do that. There's not, I mean, if it comes to that, maybe we can. Prior imposition of any civil fine or penalty, any person who violates provision shall receive notice for 45 days. So this ordinance says that you're gonna work with it. And so we've known about this for several weeks, and we just need to take action and get moving there. So I think we've got a well-written deal, and if something happens that we have to do something else, you take a look. And the compliance of the utility system to stay out of trouble EPA is a public safety need. So we can probably work along that lines if it were to come to that. I don't see it being that great in the list that Bobby's got.
I'm surprised it's only 40.
Only 40 of them.
Oh, well, there's probably, yeah, we got sent about 35 letters, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, we've actually taken care of quite a bit. We had more than that. I don't know if you know, but that manhole was one of them. that we fixed.
Yeah,
It's over about a year. I mean,
That's a
things like
seal.
that, we've taken care of.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of on us, so.
Yes, exactly. There's things that we have to take care of.
Yeah, we just need.
I think we got a couple more that we have to do too. but-
Just document all that, maybe by notes or something.
Yes.
At
Oh, it
some
is.
point, you're gonna have to prove you've done.
It-
Who owns the lift station at Calvert City Apartments, right across the street from that new drive? Is that a city or
Calvert
or is that the
You talking about the bidding authority or down by Apricot?
the ones right behind Calvert Bank, Calvert City Apartments? There's a small lift station right.
You're
kind
talking
of
to the north of
Right there with that big,
Sixth,
Yeah,
north of Sixth, right there next to roadway. By the retention basin.
it handles all of the
Yeah.
apartments.
yeah,
but-
those in a bit and then the housing authority.
Yeah.
That's theirs.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, we check it out every now and then, but it's theirs.
I know before that
I
retention
don't know
basin,
about that, Bobby.
that whole thing was.
I think Tim thought
Yeah.
that too, and then he found out it
works,
wasn't.
That it wasn't ours.
That it's ours, that we took the responsibility after it was put in.
Oh, I know we've replaced the pump, but I wasn't really told for sure if we did, but I'll check into that.
That
Just
thing
make
used
sure.
to,
We do check.
it would go
Yeah.
underwater, before
Yeah.
that retention.
Oh, I know.
basin. So now I guess maybe it's better now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That retention basin helped a bit, a lot. I mean, I thought that thing would put more water back to it.
Holds it
Okay.
back.
Mhm.
Since we're talking retention basin, I gotta go to the confessional. I wasn't the biggest fan in the world of that project. And I know at least 4 times after it's been completed, it has saved a lot of trouble. So that's- anybody
There used to be a lot.
Anybody has a good recipe for crow, I could probably use it.
There used to be a lot of trouble down there when it flooded like this. Oh, that would have been awful.
Yeah, up around the corner, I mean, the flow in front of the post office, and it even impacts down there in Sprouts neighborhood on the backside.
Yeah.
And you can go on what's the name of the road on the north of the railroad track? What's the name of that road?
Arizona.
No, on the other side. Where our head works.
Oh, Overton.
Yeah, so I went by that way and looked at the underflow from the railroad. That is the choke point. And we've got a similar one down in your neck of the woods, but it was flowing well. And if a deluge like this, that dude would have been backing up right there. I guarantee it. So not only are we protecting those apartments, it's even downstream.
Yeah,
So
it's all
it's been
connected.
pretty well. And
Well, good.
even the one like this weekend didn't exceed its capacity to hold back. So Mayor Jones, if you're listening, sorry I gave you trouble.
All right, let's see, Ashley, I think you need to read us a
Sure,
paragraph or something.
I'll be glad to. All meetings of a quorum of the members of the Board of Public Utilities at which any business is discussed shall be public unless it falls in exception of KRS 61.810. So notice is hereby given of the general nature of the business to be discussed, and that is litigation or proposed litigation on or behalf of the city. And the reason for the closed session is so that discussions can be had by the board members without those being known to potential adverse parties. And the specific provision of KRS 661.810 is section 1 subsection C, specifically discussions of proposed or pending litigation against or on behalf of the city. I believe there are 2 instances, so more than 1 instance of pending litigation and or potential litigation. And with that notice being given in the public meeting, the board can consider a motion to go into executive session.
There's another one
Are there 3? Okay.
on that list, potential contract negotiation move forward. Did you cover that?
I did not, but I had spoke to Greg about that, and he said he thought you were taking that off the.
Well,
Perhaps.
we can go in.
Sure.
That's a reason for executive session. We can discuss a potential contract negotiation. That's one of those subsections that you have, right?
I don't think so.
Really?
Sure. You want to see it?
I should have it on my phone, but I don't.
Is it G? Fine.
Discussions between a public agency and a representative of business entity.
Representative.
I don't think that's it.
It is.
That's okay. That's okay. We don't have to discuss. We can talk about it. What you have is here is potential litigation.
Yeah, that's section 1 subsection C.
Okay. So
You ready?
we made motion to go into.
Move, we move into executive session. Make a
Second.
motion. We move in.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Take us off live, Linda.
Yeah. Hey, before you go, well, no, go ahead.
I'll be right back.